What's up, YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back with part 4, the $10 worth of pennies that are part of this larger $255 mixed denomination hunt. I have kind of organized them a little bit by the wrap type, at least the solid reds down here and everything else down here. I did weigh a handful of rolls. We should have a generous amount of copper, or at the very least, a lot of overstuffed rolls. So I'm looking forward to getting into these. Now in pennies, there's a million things to look for, but unfortunately, a lot of those DDOs and DDRs are really hard to come by, at least in my experience. I will be using my own checklist along with the Strike It Rich with Pocket Change book to help identify any of those DDOs or DDRs. And of course, we'll be pulling every bit of copper we find and giving a total value of the copper weight in these pennies at the end of the video. Keeping in mind that copper is up to like $6.10 or 15 cents a pound. So that means every copper penny, 1982 and earlier, is, I want to say, roughly about 4 cents. I'll put it up on the screen. But I'm excited to get into these pennies, so let's get into it. Okay, so let's get a couple of these red rolls out here on camera, and I have gone back to the older way of videoing this just simply because it's a little bit faster for me, and I got to get through these pennies, or cents, as some of you like to point out in the comments down below. And while I'm on that, if you do have anything you want to share, if you think I missed anything, if you just want to let me know how your hunts are going, make sure you do leave me a comment down below. We do have a 1970D in there. That's going to be copper, and I am just looking for the copper cents real quick. 1981. You can typically tell pretty easily by the color. There's a 1973. Now, the really nice copper pennies will be red or really more of an orange if you were to ask somebody, but they're considered red in the coin community. And like this 1981, that's a nice red copper cent. Those can be harder to find, and that's why I do go through and look at every penny. Or at least I look at every penny, but I say obverse and reverse, but depending on the year, I may not look at the reverse. But that was a 1973. I didn't even see that one, but I will be going back through these and checking them out for our DDOs and DDRs, but wanted to get through them quickly to see how much copper we could pull. So that was 6. That one right there. There's another one. There's a 1974D that I missed. I'm sure there's more. I'll find them on the second pass. Now, I would love to find me an Indian head penny. I'd like to find old wheat pennies. Those are the things that I really get jazzed about because I have several $100s worth of copper pennies at this point. They do have value, so they are things I'm hanging on to. But at some point, you got to find the old stuff to make this fun. So there's a 1964. There's a 64 Denver. Got a 1976 Denver, all copper. It's a 1979. We got here, there's a 1980D. If that's coming through okay or focusing, but here's a 1977, and I saw this in the last roll, but I'll call it out. The 2009 was a commemorative year, and this is the formative years, and there is a DDR on this. I'll check that in a minute, and I'll bring in if we happen to have one. I have some original bank-wrapped rolls of the 2009 in really good shape, and there's a 2000 I'll check on a second pass. And I found a bunch of the DDRs with the extra thumb, but in the wild, I really haven't found too many of them. So we don't get to show them off on the channel too much. But here's where I'm going to stop. We're a couple of minutes in. You kind of see how quickly I can find the copper, but I am going to go back and hopefully find something interesting to bring you in for. And I'll hopefully see you soon. Well, I was about to bring you in at the end of the next roll to talk mainly about the 2 Canadians that we found in the last roll or two, 1991 and a 1981. And I got interrupted because getting through, I think this is roll number 6, I came across an absolutely stunning wheat penny. I mean, I normally find these things and they're this color and they're beat up and they're hard to read, but this is absolutely gorgeous. A little bit of carbon on there, almost no wear. This thing is wonderful. Let's see what we got. A 1958D. I think this is probably a really nice book upgrade and a gorgeous, gorgeous penny to boot, or a cent for you purists out there. I'll check my list to see if there's anything to look for on the 58D. If there is, and if I find anything, I'll be sure to bring it in and show it to you. But this came out of one of the last red rolls that I opened, and I'm hoping maybe there's a little bit more hiding in there. I honestly, I never would have found this by the edge or just a little bit of it poking out just due to the color. I mean, this is about as red as you can expect from a 1950s era wheat penny. So very, very cool. And it is also the last year of the wheat penny. They switched over to the Lincoln Memorial on the back. I always get it wrong. Yeah, it's the Lincoln Memorial on the back. I always want to say Monticello because I look at so many nickels. But yeah, the next year moves to the new reverse design. So very, very cool. All right, I've rambled enough. As you can tell, I'm excited about this penny. But I'm going to keep on hunting, and I'll bring you in at our next find. So we're on that same roll that we were getting through when we found that really nice wheat penny, and because I didn't bring you in last time for the Canadian, I thought I'd bring you in this time, 1979. So that's 3 Canadians on the hunt. So we've got about 6 rolls left, and I thought I'd bring you in for 2. I decided to weigh a couple to see if we could make sure they were maybe a little interesting, and at 130.89 grams, we either have an extra penny or quite a bit of copper in there, but the very next roll, so 5 from the end, we had a huge 139.46. And that either means, again, just tons and tons of copper, or if we stand it up next to one of its cousins here, you can see we are quite a bit larger roll than this one. So I'm going to guess we probably also have some copper in here, but probably 2 or 3 extra pennies. Now, I'm not going to count them all out on camera, but we should be able to tell pretty quickly if we've got a fair amount of copper. We should be able to count through it pretty quick. Or if it was just those extra pennies from the color on this first one. And I'll go through it quickly like I did in those first couple of rolls. Let's see here. We got a 1981. And I know you probably can't see all that roll on camera, but that's okay. There's a 1979D. We got a 1977D. Looks like a 92 that's pretty beat up. Now, this is an ugly, ugly roll, and it's been funny. I've had a handful of rolls that have been absolutely gorgeous, and then I've had probably 4 or 5 rolls that were just disgusting. I probably missed a copper or 2 in there, but that guy only had 3 extra pennies. Which seems like I should have found a lot more, so I'll be interested as I go back through on a second pass, going a little bit slower. But let's look at this guy. I actually do want to count this out and see how many extra pennies we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look at that, lucky guess. That's 20. That's 30. Remember, we should have 50 rolls and a penny, or 50 rolls and a penny, 50 pennies in a roll. There we go, we got it out to make a 50-cent roll. And there's your 50 cents. And we got 4 extra pennies in there, so we probably don't have as much copper as I was hoping to. Go real quick. There's a 1980. It's an 88. That's no good. There's a 78, I think. 78, so that's going to be another one. At least these two. There's a 79. I'm not going to show you that one up close. 67, and this guy too is probably copper. That's a 76. So out of those 2 super heavy rolls, we only got 1, 2, 8 copper pennies, which is awfully low considering how much those rolls weighed. So I'll go off camera. I'll take a look at these. If we find anything interesting, I'll be sure to bring you in. Well, I'm getting through the last 2 rolls, as you can see up there, and I'm just going to pull them out a few at a time. And nothing too special here, but I do see these from time to time. This is kind of a red or a red-brown 1976 copper penny that someone has stamped with West Virginia. Now, I don't know if these were purchased this way or if there's somebody out there with a stamp doing this. But like I said, I've gotten these, at least a handful of these with different states and things over the years. So pretty cool. I'll put it up here with kind of my reddish copper. We'll keep it pulled aside, and as you can see, the copper's flowing pretty well. Lots of 2009s. You've seen our Canadians, but been real weak on the wheat penny front. So let me get through these. We'll get more of an exact count and a value on all this copper, and if I happen to come across anything else interesting in these last, I don't know, 50 or 60 pennies, I'll bring you back in. All right, well, that is the end of the $10 worth of pennies that we had, and everything that I've pulled is sitting in front of you. I've covered a lot of it throughout the video, but we'll go through it again one last time for those of you that maybe skipped to the end of the video. We did get a couple of decent-looking 2025s. 2025 was the last year they minted the cent, and these things were going for quite a bit of money in original bank wrap rolls when they first came out from the bank. I haven't looked on eBay lately, but I'll throw a comp up on the screen. If you can find a couple of original bank wraps, you might have a little bit of money in your pocket there. We got this absolutely gorgeous 1958 Denver red wheat penny. This is something that I'll probably end up upgrading in my book, or maybe just throwing in a flip, because you just don't find wheat pennies this pretty in circulation. And it did come from customer wrapped roll, so you know, some customer out there saw this, thought it looked cool, and threw it in the roll anyway. Did come across 3 individual Canadian cent. I don't remember which year they were 95% copper versus like 99% or 98% copper. Doesn't really matter to me. I hang on to all of them. And when I do my copper weight, I am not going to include these copper pennies in that value. We did get 2 of the early childhood, I don't know, something like 8 or 9 of the formative years. None of them with the double thumb error or double thumb DDR wasn't there. And we did get 3 of the professional life 2009 commemorative pennies. We got that West Virginia stamped 1976 red cent. Got a couple of really nice pennies along the way. Again, more kind of red or red-brown. I pulled them separately. And we did get 136 individual copper pennies. So we did really, really well there. As for a copper weight, I did go to coinapps.com, and I will go ahead and throw it up on the screen. Each penny's worth a little over 4 cents right now with where copper is. And give me just a second. I got to look again real quick because I've forgotten the number. It's $5.74.5 in copper value in these pennies. So this is why you typically hang on to them. I roll them up by decade at this point. I don't do them by year and mint mark, especially when they're brown. So I'll put all my 70s in rolls and all my 80s in rolls and all my 60s in rolls. And of course, my wheat pennies do get stored a little bit differently. But most of these commemorative years will go back to the bank because I have rolls and rolls and rolls of pristine original bank wrap versions of those. And as I said, I do hang on to all my Canadian copper as well. So anyway, this is the end of that $255 mixed denomination hunt. I'm not going to cover all the other denominations here because they were done as separate videos. So if you just happen to catch part 4, make sure you go back and watch parts 1, 2, and 3 because they were pretty interesting as well. I know in the dimes we came across a little bit of cool silver. So if you're a silver hound, make sure you go back and check that one out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, let me know in the comments down below. And make sure you click that like button while you're down there. Let me know if you like this format. Do you prefer like smaller denominations, or do you prefer it when I cover just all this stuff in one giant video? Again, that's something I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. If you're new to the channel and you like coin roll hunts and maybe you caught on at part 1 or 2, it's easy to keep up with the other parts as I post them if you click on that subscribe button and then click that little bell and select all so you get notified when I do drop the next video. Special shout out to all my channel members. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. Really, really appreciate it. And with that, I'm heading off to a handful of national volleyball tournaments with my daughter. So videos may come out while I'm gone. They may not. I am going to take a box of halves with me down there to try to hunt. I just don't know how easy it's going to be to film. And I do have one $50 video in the can that will probably come out in the next couple of days. So with that, I hope you guys are doing well. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.